Gamers, we're out here playing Destiny Rising, having fun. I just finished the campaign, and Bungie releases this sandbox tuning preview for Ash and Iron. I'm supposed to get excited. I'm supposed to be ready to hop back in September 9th, because we all know you signed in yesterday to play heavy metal, and you played 2 games, and you're like, I'm out, closing the game. I was really looking forward to being ready for Ash and Iron and be like, dude, of course Bungie's gonna bring something, right? They're gonna do some cool thing. But then I read this article and they're just like, hey, all the stuff you guys use too OP, so we're gonna change it. Not only are you having too much fun, but any video that's been posted since Edge of Fate is launched, any cool mechanic that you've done, any cool tech that you've learned, Bungie wants to go after it. So let's go down this list, shall we? So first off, we're gonna start here with weapon hipfire reticles. Yeah, we don't care about that. Recoil, we don't care. We don't care about any of this stuff because PvP is just honestly terrible in the game. I understand if you're playing Trials and you want some loot because it does spoil you, but if you're playing quick play, go outside, get a second job, touch grass, find multiple hobbies to do. Stop playing PvP. It's terrible and it's not going to get any better. Spread shot hand cannons. We all know that was a big problem in PvP. Shout out Frostbolt for showing everybody this build because he showed it to me and I feel like he's been using it all the time. I watched this guy get so many kills with 1-2 punch and throwing knives and get his super. Honestly, some of the most toxicity build I've ever seen in Crucible, but I used it and it was fun and it made me look like I was a god. We knew that it was going to get hit. Sniper rifles. They're saying ammo economy in PvP is terrible and no one's running special weapons anymore. They're trying to encourage you to use sniper rifles so you get more ammo. Probably not going to work because we all know when you go to snipe someone, your reticle gets popped up on your second monitor that you probably don't even have. If your monitor's here and your TV's on that side of the room, it might be on the TV because it's all bad. Flinch is terrible. Only the cheaters are using sniper rifles. All right, so we thought that maybe Bungie would listen and be like, hey, we're gonna get rid of that featured exotic list. Well, it's not going away at all. Maybe we can get rid of it in Renegades. So they're gonna be adding some more stuff. We got a new weapon here. We got Mida, Stern, Trinity, Buried Bloodline, another new weapon in the heavy slot, Darcy, Heart Shadow, Sleeper Stimulant, and Tractor Cannon. We all know though, it's gonna be really hard for you. Like, why would I ever run multi-tool over Mint Retrograde? People have to understand, with Mint being in the kinetic slot and SMG from Solstice in the energy slot, it's pretty much been like Mountaintop Recluse. It just doesn't come off because they're really good. But that SMG is gonna get nerfed, and I'll get to that in a second. These are the changes for Mida Tool. It's cool that it has different stages, and they're trying to make the gun cool, but there's only gonna be certain scenarios where you put this gun on in the current meta of Destiny 2, so I don't really understand why they're trying to have us do it. Graviton Spike was a big problem in PvP, and as you see here, it's getting hit, but hey, Bungie just didn't want to nerf it right away because they wanted you to buy the expansion so you could use that weapon and terrorize people in Crucible, but now it's time to cut that out. But hey, I mean, the gun is broken, we know that. And now we get to the fun stuff. Remember how I told you that the epic raid was going to be kind of annoying to do because Bungie's seen how some of the bosses got memed in Desert Perpetual and how the meta is very boring in the raid right now. It's just hip fire weapons, get your super. Well, this is the fun part of the article where all that's going to go away and there's going to be multiple weapons that aren't going to work in the epic raid, probably more banned weapons that they're not talking about right now. So good luck on that day 1 epic raid contest because it's not going to be easy for you. It's going to be very annoying. So first, let's start with Lord of Wolves. Well, now they saw that you used this in Final Stand. Release of Wolves damage versus bosses by 20%. So will it still be a good option? Maybe. You'd have to test it. Grand Overture, same thing. Reduce total reserves from 58 to 48. They don't want you using Grand Overture in the final boss fight or the other boss fights, but they did change the catalyst a little bit. It doesn't require you to get direct hits for enemies to explode, but again, we weren't really using it for that. Queenbreaker, this gun was just used because of Particle, and Bungie sees that we still use it sometime from time to time. I really haven't used it in a while, but they did go after it and nerf it because they're like, oh, we want you to have easy to use options and use something else. Well, I mean, Queenbreaker was free. You just... All right. Now goes to the fun stuff that we used in all the raid, pretty much. Outbreak, Borrow Dyad, Hierarchy of Needs. Pretty much they're just going after super generation here, but there's no Peacekeeper Titan, you know? You're probably still going to be able to find a way around this. The Peacekeeper Titan build with the raid SMG. We do know that it's really good with target lock, but I don't know if it's going to be viable still. I don't understand why they didn't put it on here, but again, Outbreak isn't going to give you that super recharge and also the nanite damage. I don't know, probably not. So yeah, you see where we're going here. Bungie's just trying to make sure that you don't use the same boring meta in the raid, because they made it that way. The boring meta that's currently in Edge of Fate right now is, hey, what's your best build for solo op? You don't really need a build for solo ops. Anyways, let's just keep it moving here. Thunderlord. There was an issue with Thunderlord Catalyst on the day one raid. When we were hip firing Thunderlord trying to kill all these bosses, the exotic catalyst was loading about 13 to 15 bullets into your magazine every time it proc, which made you never have to reload. Well, that was a bug, and Bungie's fixing it. Are you mad about the Thunderlord nerf? We're sorry, bud. You can't have this. Look, he wants the hamburger helper. All right, we can't do that. The raid exotic. They pretty much say in this paragraph here that we know that it's a cool rocket launcher, but no one's using it. So they're trying to increase the exotic perk pretty much from 10 seconds to 8 seconds so you get it faster and encourage you to use it more. Depending on what the catalyst gives this weapon from the epic raid, I don't even know if we'll use it. So they're pretty much just trying to make it so you don't have to optimize your damage rotations to proc the perk. I do think the rocket's cool because it's different and it's one of a kind. I hope the catalyst really carries it. All right, so now we're gonna get to the best part of the article here where they talk about some weapon perks. Burning ambition changes. We don't really use that perk. Some people do, but again, it's cool that they're, trying to make the new stuff matter. But enhanced perk improvements, this is where it gets kind of cool. Dragonfly, it adds 10% damage to the explosion. So if you got weapons that you want to try with Dragonfly, you could do more damage. Cluster bomb rockets or cluster bomb anything, 10% damage to each cluster. More damage, that's cool. Reservoir burst, 10% more damage. Howl added 5% damage to the enhanced shot. That's dope. Eye of the Storm added 10% effective to all Eye of the Storm benefits. Sweet. Flash counters getting 1 more second of time. Chain reaction, I like chain reaction a lot. It's going to add 10% damage and explosion. Headstone, this could be really good for certain weapons. Precision kills always generate a large stasis crystal. Chill clip, players can create slowing detonations from a lower percentage of the magazine. And hatchling, chance to generate 2 threadlings instead of 1. So this stuff's pretty good. Why couldn't we have more stuff like this in the game? Why not buff more stuff and nerf it? This is literally fun detected temporal blast. It's on every single weapon. It goes away in renegades, but pretty much anyone and everyone's just running this mod on every single weapon because it's so busted. So now no longer gains progress on splash damage, reduced blast damage impulse by 66%. So it's chalk. And they knew that it was working really good for the crossbow, so it's a 75% nerf when it's used with the crossbow or the rocket, but only 23% with a rocket pulse. We knew this was coming. Again, it's just when stuff like this comes out, I feel like it should get hit right away. Don't let people have fun with it and play the game and level up with it and enjoy their build, and then you just take it away from them. That's an L. Exotic armor tuning preview. They're going to add more featured exotics like Young Ahamkara's Spine, Frosty Stronghold, Hazardous Propulsion. Warlock is getting Chromatic Fire and Controverse Hold. Now, Titans, if you've been using those strongholds and just running around Rick Kaka style, these changes are probably going to prevent that from happening. But we all know that that build was just like fun when it came out, and it's kind of boring now. So it's like a weird gameplay to play when you got Titan that's so strong. So yeah, that's chalked. Hunters. Sarachne's getting a change while Woven Mail is active. Will now also return health on defeating an enemy, so they want you to try out Sarachne a little bit. Here's where hunters are going to start getting mad, and I'm fighting for you because I like hunters. Spirit of the Sarachne. Duration of Woven Mail provided reduced from 10 seconds to 6. That's huge. The reason why this is huge is because you used to be able to always have this up. Depending on if your build was build crafted the right way, you could always get your Woven Mail procced because you always had your grenade every 10 seconds. Well, build crafting just got hit. And what's funny here is that they said we concluded this change was premature, but were unable to fully remove the change before 9.1.0 was locked. So it's like they were supposed to make this change, but they never brought it. I'm lost. But warlocks though, check this out. Controverse holds. Now charge grenades will apply weaken. So that means they could take off the fragment, and it says it right here. So warlocks get a buff. They get all the fun, I really feel bad for hunters right now. But wait, there's more. We're gonna go down here to the hunters gamblers dodge and sauce it up real quick because Bungie didn't want to separate PvE changes versus PvP. So, you know how you could dodge near enemies or dodge out in the open now in PvE and PvP and get your melee back? Well, they're bringing back the dodging near enemies. They don't want you to do that no more. In PvP, I understand because you could throw a smoke, dodge, and throw another smoke. That makes sense. But in PvE, let people play it. So what's going to happen now is in PvE, having 50 melee stat and dodging near an enemy will now give you a full melee charge. You only need 50 now, which is good, but let's be honest here, you're gonna have more than 50 anyway. And at 100 melee stat, dodging near an enemy will grant 2 melee charges or multi-charge abilities, so that's cool. Rescaling the amount of melee energy generated by Gambler's Dodge from 100% to 70 stat points and 100% at 100 stat points. Dodging near an enemy now doubles this amount and reduced the amount of melee energy in PvP, but hey, we understand why they did that. They went after lightweight throwing knives because they were annoying in PvP. We get that. Also, people were stacking melee and grenade stat damage bonuses. It will no longer to apply to your melee and grenade damage while you're in super, so rip Hunter's brand build. Bungie's just fixing that. We kind of knew that. How was this stuff not tested before they launched it? Some of us were having problems with our class stat energy benefits, and it was not increasing the amounts by 1 point. It was only going up by 10. Bungie did address that though. Final thoughts on this article. It just shows me that Bungie doesn't care. They're so out of touch again. I don't know who's writing this stuff or who's coming up with these ideas, but you know, some of the stuff was cool when you're buffing stuff, but when you start nerfing things for no reason, where you can't separate PvP and PvE sandboxes, and you're forcing players to run these new featured exotics. Where's the featured exotic class items? We grinded so hard to get the perfect rolls and they're still not there. Take Avant-Garde, get it out of the game, improve your game, because look what I'm doing in the background. I'm playing Destiny Rising on PC and it's fantastic. The community likes Destiny Rising right now. What makes people want to sign on to Destiny 2 right now and play stuff that they're just nerfing all the fun? Why don't we add replayability in the game instead of worrying about sandbox tuning? All this manpower that you wasted just to make this article, you could have been working on better content and more replayability in the game. Not so we're just sitting and playing the same activities over and over and over and actually feel like there's a reason to grind. But hey, heavy metal's here, right? I expect the game to get slow. Numbers are going to drop. Renegades will save us, right? I guess we'll find out. I'm going to be bouncing around Borderlands and Destiny Horizon and doing all I can to keep making these videos to make people laugh, and hopefully Bungie will listen at some point. Have a great evening, everyone. Thanks for watching.